Welcome to the Side Action Podcast, the sports gambling show that covers everything in the world of sports betting from A through Z. We'll cover the four major sports, as well as anything and everything in between worth some action, and will increase the size of your bankroll. And here we go.
All right, welcome to the Side Action, episode 7 of season 6. I am Jim Weglars, aka Wegs. You can follow me at Wegs Coop on Twitter and on Instagram.
And I'm Coop. You can catch me on Instagram at Dalton Cooper, on Twitter at Mr. Grumpy Gills, at Dalton Cooper, and obviously we are the Side Action Podcast, coming to you live from a new location.
Yeah, we are at the what do we call it? Printers Row Studio. Follow us at Side Action Pod on Twitter and Side Action Podcast on Instagram. Yeah, so we got a little happy hour tonight at Lone Wolf in West Loop. So Dalton decided, hey, we tried to do it on location.
Yeah,
we won't tell the full story, but let's just say Lone Wolf was not very open to outside parties. They don't really want us to do our podcast there. They're like, there's no plugs. We're not going to turn down the music.
And there's no food.
You can't be disruptive. There's no food. So why are we doing that podcast? Why are we doing the happy hour there? Because we had fun last year. That's why. So anyway.
We'll see. You never know.
So how was your weekend?
Oh man,
lots of stuff happened. I'll start this time since you were so thrown off last time.
Oh man.
So first of all, I went to Rivers Friday afternoon. Kind of a long, weekend, sort of holiday weekend.
Oh yeah.
If you celebrate that kind of thing, Indigenous Peoples Day or whatever. So I decided I'm on a roll. I'm going to go back to Rivers. Did it again, baby. Did it again. Doubled up some money, actually a little more than double. Couldn't quite hit all the numbers, missed the 12, but tried to call, tried to get Prime out there, tried to get everybody out there. Didn't work, which is fine. I win.
These are turning into like the fishing stories. If you,
Exactly.
you keep going and gambling by yourself, I don't like it. You need to start taking pictures, or like the fish was like this big. I swear to God.
I got this Canadian girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
She's my pen pal. But on the rest of the weekend, I ended up, since I felt, hey, I won this money. I rolled back into town. I'm texting some friends. Arpan, it was his birthday weekend last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We met him out. I went to Pizza Lobo, got a slice. Then I took him to Nobody's Darling, which is a great cocktail bar in Andersonville. Lee Fan came out as well. We were trying to go to other venues, but they just wouldn't have us. No.
They knew you were hot. That's why.
They're like, hey, this guy's red hot. We tried to go to Beauty Bar. We got in, but it was kind of dead, actually, which is weird. We went to Boss Bar. They wouldn't let in Arpan with his flip-flops.
Oh, yikes.
So then we just had Mexican food. And then Saturday night, let's face it, we know what we did. EDM show, baby.
Oh, man.
There was discussion of a friend named Molly. I did not particularly meet Molly myself. No. Others did, but it was a great show. I really liked that spot.
It's a really nice venue.
Yeah,
I think
Radius.
I think Caesar. Shout out to Salad. I think he was deciding or telling me that they opened it right as soon as COVID happened.
Oh,
so it is a really nice venue. There's lots of bathrooms, which I like. It's very accessible. There's like 8 or 9 bars in there, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, it's a nice area. Highly recommend fun. From the Side Action Pod.
And Bob, what was his name? Ben
Boner. Yeah,
he was really cool. It was a really cool show, and the laser light show and everything. Some of us probably enjoyed it more than others, but
love his accent.
we had a good time, and then I tried to go to the Smart Bar afterwards. I was down. My whole car was like, I want to pay on cover. I leave. I'm on my way home. I'm actually parking at home, and then my esteemed co-host was like, "Where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you at?" And like, "We're here." And I'm like, And then at 4 a.m, he's like, "Boo." Which means you're out pretty late. Good for you.
Yeah. I didn't go to bed till like 8 a.m. probably, give or take. So it was a long
You didn't
night.
quite make it to the Four Shadows.
No, I didn't.
On Sunday.
That's my fault. So I take responsibility. But that was a great time, and then obviously recovery. But we had bowling last night too.
Yeah, how's it going?
Tuesday night we had bowling.
Yeah.
We were down 150 pins on total after the first game. We came all the way back and won.
Wow.
Yeah.
Three.
So we took 5 points out of 7. Yeah.
Three. Okay.
Yeah. Three games, and then you get a point for total. So
That's
we actually
awesome.
came back and won total. The boys are hot. We're 19-2 in our last 21. So the fellas are hot. So
what was the team name again?
Are we rolling balls yet?
Are we rolling balls yet?
Are we rolling balls yet? So we're making our charge to the top. So
nice. They got it. Well, we got to have some updates. Since the Shockers are not playing this year, I used to always give the Shocker update. But all right, so let's go to your favorite segments here. Let's start off with who we take into the shed. I guess I should probably let you go first since you got 17.
No, go ahead, because we both have to. You had my first pick. You took 1A this week.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Mario Cristobal. He's the head coach of Miami Hurricanes. He used to be with Oregon, didn't he, before?
Yes.
He's kind of known for bad situational football.
Okay.
And in this case, I believe it was 32 seconds to go in the game. Could have just taken a knee, ended the game, maybe 2 knees, the game's over. Instead, he starts to run the ball. Running back fumbles, turnover, Georgia Tech gets the ball, 2 chucks, touchdown, game winner. So they lose outright, which is unbelievable. So, Mario Cristobal, you were taken to the shed, sir.
Oh, man. There was so many good memes. Did you see the player on the bench that was mouthing, "What the F are we doing?"
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Apparently 2 or 3 different coaches went up to him and said, "We should probably take a knee." And he's just, I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah. I think he did that when he was coaching at Oregon and Stanford, I believe, was the game. They reminisced.
Solomon Thomas. You can see it. They play it on bad beats all the time when the guys run into the house, and it's, it's crazy.
Oh, man. That was a great little relive that I got to go down the rabbit hole this week. So the first person we're going to take to the shed this week is, I don't know if you saw when Tyreek Hill scored. I know you probably saw Jamar Chase, which we'll get to in a second. But Tyreek Hill scored a touchdown, and he tried to give the ball to his mom in the stands. There was a guy that took the ball.
No.
Yeah, and then if you watch the video, Tyreek Hill's mom and a bunch of other people start yelling at this guy until he eventually gives the ball to Tyreek Hill's mom. So
as they should.
We're taking that man.
Yeah, whoever that guy was.
We're taking that man
to the shed. Was he wearing a Tyreek Hill jersey at least?
No, he was not. He was wearing just a generic, I don't even know, it looked like an old Walmart jersey. And we'll actually, I'm going to save our next couple sheds for when we talk about baseball, because there was some baseball that happened we'll talk about. But the London series. The reason I'm taking the London series to the shed is an unnamed player called it a carpeted parking lot that they're playing on. Oh. And if you go on Twitter and look, they literally have a concrete floor and just lay out kind of the turf on it. Yeah. So I can only imagine that's got to be so much fun.
How can they play football, soccer on that thing? I'm assuming that's the same substance. I mean, I've heard that everybody was slipping around, and I mean, some people got hurt actually out there.
I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure they're not as physical. They're not like diving on the ground maybe when they're playing football, if you will.
They dive, but it's a fake dive. It's like a flop,
We have 2 more. We're taking Paris to the shed. I don't know if you've seen
the city.
Yes, I don't know if you've seen what's going on in Paris right now.
No,
they have a bed bug infestation.
Well,
they're literally quote, "No one is safe." That's what some of the city of Paris had laid out. They had Fashion Week this week as well. So make sure you check your heebie-jeebies at night. I don't know about you, but
you gotta wear. I mean, unfortunately, I've had bed bugs in an apartment before.
Oh God, yeah. So cross your fingers. And then the last, this got added a couple hours ago. We're taking Lone Wolf Tavern to the shed.
Oh yeah.
And quote, doesn't play loud sports games or anything on the television of any kind at that bar. So we're putting any bar that doesn't play the football game over the sound system to the shed.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell? Yeah. I mean, who picked this bar?
Right.
Let's take that guy to the shed. Well, let's flip it to the Dub Club to make it positive, at least. I went with Fred Warner of the 49ers. It could have been any 49er, including Kyle Shanahan, who had a great game plan. We talked about it last week. Obviously, I was on the wrong side with the Cowboys. But this dude is balling. I mean, both linebackers are awesome. So Fred Warner had like 2 huge plays. I mean, early with the strip fumble, which really helped them out and get on top. And he's just a baller, man. The guy is everywhere. He's a great guy, and he's kind of the heart and soul of that defense. Hopefully, he stays healthy. We've seen a lot of these teams lose their guy. Yeah. But Fred Warner, you definitely are in the Dub Club. For me. I mean, Club Dub. I only let like 1 in a week. You got like the whole entourage. So who do you add to the entourage?
Well, we're trying to keep the club open. We got to have patrons in the club to keep the club afloat. The first person we're putting in Club Dub this week is Jamar Chase. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he had 3 touchdowns against the Cardinals. Yeah. He had 15 catches, which is a Bengals franchise record.
Unbelievable.
Nice little next gen stat for you. I forgot this from the stats department. 14 of his 15 catches either went for a first down or a touchdown. So that's pretty good. The next person, we're going to add Aiden Hutchinson to Club Dub.
Yeah, guy's good.
So he's had 4 interceptions as a defensive lineman in 27 games, which is actually the most in NFL history for a lineman in the last 75 years. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. We're putting the Arizona Diamondbacks in Club Dub. Yeah, we'll save a little bit more for baseball here in just a second.
Yeah, they're good.
I don't know if you saw last night, but Brock Besser scored 4 goals for the Vancouver Canucks.
4 goals, huh? Yeah. What do they call it? I mean, obviously the hat trick is 3. What's the 4?
I'm just calling it the hat trick plus 1. So I'll have to check on the Canadians. We'll come back to next week I'll bring a term.
We call it like a Canadian hat trick?
It's called a ham bone in bowling if you get 4 strikes in a row. So
we'll do
the Canadian ham bone.
Ham bone trick.
Okay. Like we will work on that. But he's the third Canuck ever to ever reach 4 goals in a game, so that's pretty cool. Another person we're putting. I don't know if you saw that Bryce Harper home run last night, the first one. The 2 guys that were on top. Did you see the 2 guys on top of the stadium though? No. Oh my God! So if you haven't seen this video yet, go out and check this out on social media. But when Bryce Harper hits a 2-run home run, you can clearly see there's 2 guys standing on top of the roof right here.
Oh man!
Just wait till it's right there.
Oh yeah, I see him up
there. So if you guys haven't seen that video on social media, go check that out. It's pretty wild.
They were waiting for it. And he was great, and they were saying, I heard on the the VSiN stuff that I listened to. Everybody talks about LeBron. Of course, it was great, and the king, and all that. But the bottom line is, he was touted at like 16 years old as the best baseball player ever. Yeah. And he's pretty much delivered.
Yeah, he's got great hair too.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, the Phillies are red hot too. Maybe Houston's playing good too. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And then the last one we're just going to add, I noticed on the way here, but David Njoku released his pictures of his burns that he went through. I don't know if you saw him last week walking into pregame. He wore like I don't want to say a Saw mask or a Texas Chainsaw.
How did he get burned?
It was something, I think, cooking accident at home, I think, but he had like first-degree burns on his face, so he released his pictures today. They're pretty gnarly.
I'm sure he was getting ready for Halloween.
So, but he played last week with those scars, and it's check him out on Twitter.
He was a bye week. This week he's playing.
Maybe it was the week before. Excuse me. Yeah, it was previous week. So, but he actually released the pictures today, so that was kind of cool. So he's in Club Dub. Football guy. Really
football guy. Well, let's talk about the headline matchups. You have, obviously, Oregon at Washington, the big Pac-12, the end of the pack over there. That's going to be a great game. You got 2 good quarterbacks in that one. Miami at North Carolina, that should be a good game. Cristobal, good luck to you. And you got another Pac-12, UCLA and your Oregon State, those are the Beavs.
Yeah, the Beav Nation. Yeah,
we love Beavers.
We do. We shout out to Beaver Nation.
Who doesn't love Beavers?
That's going to be a really good color matchup, too. The orange and black with the baby blue and gold. I think it's going to be a great color combo. But yeah, we did go 2-0 again last week. I did remind you at the EDM
of course
concert.
You did.
I don't know if you remember.
I remember. I'm surprised you remembered.
Oh, yeah, it was a great time. But we are 11-1 to start the year. Still shout out to Iowa for our one blemish. So this week we're riding with Duke at minus 3.5. They're going. They're playing NC State at home. Mm-hmm. I think NC State is coming off an overtime loss, if I remember correctly. It looks like a hammer spot for Duke. And then I'm going to take the primetime game. I'm going to take Washington.
Okay. Really well be happy.
Yeah, I think Penix is going to have a good day. Oregon's a really good team, and I think they're going to have to stumble at some point. And I think this is going to be to go on the road to Husky Stadium. That place is going to be rocking.
And Washington's got one of their top receivers is returning in this game. They have a really good receiving core for Penix, and then we'll see how Bo Nix does on the road in a rowdy crowd because it's it's played the rowdy crowd.
They've got 3 NFL wide receivers in Washington for sure. So yeah, Bo Nix on the road. I'm not trusting.
Washington's a sneaky. They win this one. They're a sneaky pick to go to the playoffs. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's go into your October update. This is the baseball update. Yes, we're going to talk about NFL in a minute here. So here we go. Obviously, you've already mentioned it. I mentioned it. The Rangers did sweep. Sorry, Twins. At least did win a game in the playoffs for once.
No, the Rangers swept the Orioles.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm slipping to Astros. My bad. Yeah, okay. The Orioles. The Orioles, it's tough, man.
They're young.
They won like so many games, right? But, my bad. The Astros beat the Twins, and they did get a game in this one.
They did.
So that's all set up, but we still have life. I mean, the Braves still have life despite the 10-2 beating last night. And then
game 2, though, that was a great game. Did you see that home run in the bottom of the 8th by Austin Riley? I was making dinner. Oh man, it was just
bomber. Huh?
Oh man, there's just goosebumps. Yeah,
kind of like a free swinger swing.
Right.
And then Dodgers Diamondbacks. Well, it looks like Diamondbacks are up. They're up in this one. We'll see what happens.
No, it's over. They swept.
It's over. They
swept.
Okay.
Yeah, they swept them last night. The Dodgers. A couple stats real quick. By the way, they've had 3 straight. They've had 3 straight 100-win seasons, and they have yet to win a postseason series.
It's Kershaw, man. He can't pitch in the postseason for some reason.
He was also in the shed because his overall record in the playoffs is 13-13 with a 4.49 ERA, as opposed to him during the regular season. He's 210-92.
I don't understand how that happens. He must just get rattled. I
think he tries too hard.
Yeah, throws too hard.
There is also a $114 million difference in payroll between the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. So,
D-backs.
the D-backs are back in the NLCS for the first time since 2007.
A lot of people feel that even though the D-backs might have beat them, but the Braves should have probably matched up with them. There's no reseeding in baseball. If you knew that. It's kind of weird, actually. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
But yeah. So we'll see if the Braves can come back. They probably can't. That Phillies Diamondbacks matchup is going to be really fun.
Yeah. You think?
And then the Astros, I mean, I'm kind of rooting for the Rangers. I don't think they've ever won, right? They ever won a World Series?
No, because I think because they lost the Cardinals that last time with David Freese. I don't think
so
they won.
They got a chance, but I do like the Phillies overall in that one. Have you bought any future tickets then?
Yeah, so we took the Braves, or excuse me, we took the Phillies future before the Braves, and Phillies started at plus 800. So
that's good.
We got a pretty good number, and then we hedged it with the Braves winning the series after the game one loss. I took them because I'm like, it's the Braves. You're never going to give them plus money ever again. So we went ahead and took it. So we hedged. I hate it. Yeah. I can't live with myself.
Did I tell you about the craps thing? I'll go back to the craps roll. I did hedge at one point because I forgot to mention, I got the fire bet this time.
Oh, nice.
Which means I got 4 different points on the same roll. I was on my 5th point, which was the 10, and I didn't have the 10. Guy next to me is like, you got to hedge the 10. I'm like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. You got to lay the 10. You got to lay the 10. I'm like, well, if I lay the 10, then that means if I hit it, then I lose the money. He's like, yeah, but you want guaranteed money? I'm like, yes, I do. He told me to do 400 because if I lay 4, then I win 200 back, which keeps me 600 if I crap out.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to do conservative, 200. Guess what? I crapped out. But I'd also, again, if I told you this story, never put your hands, once the dice are out, get your hands out of the goddamn pit.
Yeah.
Drunk mother.
Some guy.
2 hands in the pit. 2 hands. As I'm throwing the dice, I'm like, almost hits his hand, bounces up, he pulls it away. There's the 7. I had like 35 rolls, and he makes me crap out. But anyway, I laid the 10. So I hedge sometimes. Anyway, let's get on to something real here.
Yeah, to the real podcast. Sorry.
All right, NFL Week 5 recap. This is how it's going this every week.
Yeah.
7-7 home and road. 7-7 with the dogs, but the totals unders 8-6. Slight advantage. 0 games matter with the spread. What does that mean? Just to recap. If a team won but didn't cover the spread, that would fall into this category. It only happens like 13-14% in the year. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been really low this year.
You just got to pick the side to win, including the dogs. Okay, so let's recap some of our picks. Side Action did 3-2. We came out of the gates. We're like, oh man, we're gonna kill it. 3-0. We're doing great. Whatever. What are you gonna do? Thank you, Arizona, and thank you, Cowboys. But we'll take 3-2. We actually moved up in the standings a little bit to like 1400th place, but. Top dog, 21-4. That is 84%, sir.
He's picking them right. He's
picking the team. God, that guy's killing it.
Or she.
I think it's a he, but could be getting picks from somebody. And then the top 100 is 17-7-1. That's 17.5, 70% right. So as a general rule, if we get to 64, 65%, then you're going to cash. The 70 guys will come down over time. The top dogs usually they cap out about 80, like 75 to 80% is usually when they win. I mean, it's insane. So. Gotcha. Well, like I said, we started off hot. Pittsburgh plus the 4. They took care of business. Why do they take care of business? Because the Ravens can't catch the football. But I don't care. It cashes money. Tomlin is 6. He's won 6 out of 7 against the Ravens lately. And it's like the dog covers and wins like in every single game between the Ravens and Pittsburgh. So thank you, Mike Tomlin. Kenny Pickett sucked. I was asking for him to be pulled in the first half. He finally hit Pickens on the big, game sealer to win 17-10 in this one.
I figured you were getting really rowdy when they got that block punt safety. That's when I was like, that was your cover number. That was like, oh man,
that was a key.
That was the ugliest second half I've ever seen. I actually caught the second half of this game, and it was just the Ravens just lost that game. I don't think Pittsburgh even won that game, to be honest. They literally gave it to them, and it's just heartbreaking. Every eyelash.
Yeah, I mean the defense played decent for the Ravens. It's just the offense. I don't know what happened. After they dropped balls. I mean, the Steelers probably play a little better D in the second half, but
the Ravens could be 5-0 right now. Mm-hmm. Realistically, they probably should be. And it's just it's got to be maddening for Harbaugh and the gang.
That's
so
right.
We're going to see how they play against Tennessee this week.
You'll like this because I flipped sides on this one because I know you like Philly.
Oh yeah,
Philly -4. All the experts were saying, take Philly, take Philly. It was one of these situations though. The back door was wide open though. We like the back doors we talked about in this podcast. They were a consensus pick, and for us, I like to stay away from our Rams were consensus pick, and we got lucky to flip. So they kind of clawed their way to this one. They're 5-0 now. They won 23-14, and they were able to stop, the Rams on their final possession. I'm like, oh great, they're going to go and score this touchdown, and we're going to get screwed and go for 2 and blah blah blah. But they did cover the 4 points, winning 23-14.
Yeah, the surprising thing to me was how well the Rams defense played, honestly. It kept them in the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you didn't know what you were going to get, how well that Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford would.
I mean, he had 5 catches on the first drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He came right out like they never missed a beat. So their breakfast meetings have been going really well this week. So
that's right. They have a podcast too.
Yeah, they do. Look for the. I mean, I think moving forward, the Rams could. I think they could get hot. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they could definitely spoil some seasons for somebody else.
I agree. And then we got the Jets. This was another weird game. Jets were 2-point dogs on the road at Denver. Denver, of course, is a train wreck, but they were winning early in this game, as they've done most of the season that Denver's been leading, and then they blow it late. Brees Hall had a huge game. Big, huge run in the second half to bust this thing kind of wide open. I mean, Wilson didn't look great, but he played decent, and the defense really turned on the second half. And they won going away 31-21, basically because they had a pick six at the end of the game to make that happen.
Scoop and
score. Or it was scoop and score, fumble. So we'll take it. And then
Nathaniel Bowl.
Yeah, the Nathaniel Bowl. Well, and you heard about it.
Oh, yeah.
We should have put him in the dub. I can't quite put him in the dub club. He was so bad last year. But they said that was for Coach Hackett, who's the offensive coordinator for the Jets now. So then we've got the Cardinals against the Bengals. This one did not work out in our favor. It was one of those games, though, I just felt the Cardinals kind of gave it up. I mean, they were right in the game, and Dobbs threw a pick six at the end of the half, and then he had 3 terrible turnovers in this game, all leading to scores for Cincinnati. They ended up winning easily. I mean, Cincinnati 34-20, as you mentioned. Chase had a big game, but I'm not sure if Cincinnati's back all the way. We'll see this week. They got a tough game against Seattle.
No, I think from this game, I think it was over from the jump. First time all year the Bengals have gotten a 3-and-out stop and then actually taken the ball and went and scored that touchdown. That's the first half touchdown they've scored all season. So, Jamar Chase right back into form. It's going to be interesting what they do without T. Higgins. Looks like Trent Irwin and company, they filled in pretty well. I think he had 6 or 7 catches. They still can't run the football yet, which is a little – I don't want to say it's scary, but Joe finally looked healthy. I mean, our Super Bowl pick finally looked like our Super Bowl pick.
Well,
so
did I tell you?
We'll see.
I was listening to VSiN on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and I heard
you double dipped.
that I did. I heard that Circa was a little slow to adjust the line. So when I bought it in the summer, it was 10-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay? They were down to 40-1 in Vegas. So all these guys on the thing were like, they got like a free roll or something, some contest they got. So they ended up buying in at 40-1. And I looked at Circa's here in Illinois now, as I mentioned last week. I got on my app, put in my first deposit, put it in 35-1. Got 35-1 for them. So thank you for keeping it up, because they're on Rivers, for example, is 28-1. So it's going to come down as we go. So next one, Dallas. We kind of talked about that demolition crew of the 49ers winning 42-10. Brock Purdy, okay. I'm still not all Brock Purdy. I'm not going to dog him as much as I did before, but George Kittle hit him wide open 3 times in that game. And Mike McCarthy, I mean, did you hear this story? He has not left the facility in 48 hours. He's just been living at Jerry Dome trying to figure out why they got their ass kicked.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know if you listened to the preseason podcast, but I could have told you that one was coming. And you know what the sad part is? I knew they were doomed when they go to Mike McCarthy live before halftime, and it's like, we just need to run the ball more. That's why we're getting our butts handed to us right now. It's just because we're abandoning the run, we're not running the football enough. So, he's obviously clueless. Hopefully he finds his mind in that 48 hours and that's in there, because they got a sneaky spot this week against the Chargers. It could go south in a hurry in Jerry's world.
Well, they're going to be at LA.
Yeah. But it's still going to go south in Jerry's world.
All right. I'm not sure if your record's correct. I didn't want to state it out loud unless that's incorrect. Is that correct?
I think we're 2 games under 500.
Okay. Yeah. 2 games under 500.
I think we're 9-11.
9-11-1. Okay, gotcha. 9-11-1 for Beaver Nation. We'll get you back on the right track.
That's all right. I live and die on my college football hill.
You're doing great. I mean, on that. So you have to. I don't know if you took the Carolina in this one. That was just not enough to keep up with the mighty Lions, who are playing balls out right now. Montgomery still continues to dominate. They won 42-24. Goff had 3 more TD passes. 2 to my guy. The tight end.
Oh, Sam Laporta.
Yeah, Sam Laporta is my guy, Sammy. Cheap tight end, right?
Shout out to Sam Laporta.
Now, this one was a tough beat. Houston was playing at Atlanta. It was really the right side the whole game. Atlanta, I mean, they go down. So
even
They're
texted
like
me.
12-7. I thought we won.
You broke the you broke the number one rule. You can't say anything before the game is over.
My mistake.
Also, shout out to Jared Goff, still the best quarterback all time against the spread.
There he is. Keeps covering.
Yeah.
So anyway, all game Houston just kicking field goals, which is always a death blow to your team. But they're up 12-7. But of course, then they go down because the other team scores a touchdown. Atlanta, and then Stroud didn't play good all game. Takes him down. Go ahead field goal, or go ahead touchdown. Yeah. And then what happens? Damn it! They gave up like 2 big plays right away. One to Drake London, who barely caught the ball, and Younghoe Koo kicks the field goal to win 21-19. If you got 2.5, which was the closing number, you would have covered. That's kind of where I got my number. Yeah. We have 1.5. It's a loser. Sorry, America. I'm still Team Houston.
Yeah, no, that was a tough pill to swallow, and that's going to be a huge game, I think, going forward for the Falcons and their playoff hopes. Mm-hmm. So I think that game could be the difference between them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, in my opinion. So
that's right.
But yeah, it was a tough beat. I thought Houston was the side the whole way.
I know, it's like you're never going to take another dog in your life. You take your dog will lose. All right, so the last one was Kansas City. I didn't end up taking it, got talked off of it, but they ended up covering the number. It actually moved all the way down to 3.5 in this game, which I always thought was funny. Again, the back door was wide open in this one. They could have come back. Justin Jefferson injury, who's on an IR, a little preview here. He's moving to IR with his knee, or I thought it was a hamstring. I'm going to put it in wrong. He's a hamstring guy. They couldn't quite get it done. Travis Kelce, yeah, sure. He got knocked out of the game but came back. He's a warrior, but, what's her name wasn't even there.
No, Taylor.
She wasn't shaking it off.
Wow, what's her name? Wow, that's all the Swifties are going to come after you. Just so the Swifties know.
Swiftie, what?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about some NFL season, week 6 here. Somebody's losing their job here. Previews. I've got a lot of continued injuries for the Bills, man. Their great linebacker, Matt Milano's out for the year, broken leg. They actually lost another defensive lineman. I can't remember his name. Daquan Jones, I think.
Yeah.
His bicep is, I don't know if he's going to make it out for the year or not, but he's got a torn bicep, so he's probably going to miss the rest of the season. So that's big for them. We'll talk about that in a minute. Vikings, we talked about Justin Jefferson, so those other receivers are going to have to step up, or they could just sell the farm. They could get rid of Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah, tank for Caleb Williams. I mean, I think it would be pretty gnarly to have Jefferson and, what's the head coach's name? He's out of the Sean McVay tree. O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. Yeah. I think him and Caleb Williams, he's a good offensive mind. I think that'd be they should start really considering.
Here's the thing, though. Justin Jefferson doesn't have a long-term deal yet. You got to ink that dude.
Well, and that's the other part of it, too. If you get a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, you can sign Justin Jefferson for a couple, 4 or 5 year extension.
There you
don't
go.
have to worry about it.
There you go. How about one of my quarterbacks on fantasy, Anthony Richardson? Unfortunately, shoulder injury. He's on IR too, which he wasn't when I wrote this. He was just out for the game. Yeah. He's on IR, so at least 4 weeks out. Look, I love the way he plays, and yeah, he's a beast, but nobody can keep up that punishment. And hopefully, he kind of learns to not just go right into the dudes, because that's what's happening right now. Minshew's in. We'll talk about that too. Travis Kelce, is he playing tonight? Did we determine that?
He's still listed as questionable. Everything that I'm reading says that he's leaning toward playing. So on this podcast with his brother, everything pointed toward him playing. So
yeah, he wants to play through it. I mean, I'm a little worried about that as the season goes on. Amon-Ra St. Brown missed the game. Is he going to play this week? Do we know?
He was still listed as questionable, as I saw.
Obviously, didn't matter this week. They're going to play Tampa. Your tough Tampa defense down there. We'll see about that. Yeah. And the last one is Deshaun Watson. It does not appear that he's going to play. Now, granted, he may play, but that line has shot way up in that game, and it's indicative that he probably won't play. I mean, I thought he was almost going to play 2 weeks ago, and he had a bye week. What happened?
I think they were saying it was a rotator cuff issue and something with discomfort, and it's like a day-to-day. So they normally go 2 to 6 weeks on these, and we're on week 3, so we'll see. I don't know.
Well, good luck. Good luck to you guys.
Massages to help that or not.
This time they're going to start P.J. Walker if they start him, not the rookie this time.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I heard anyway. All right, so let's go into the lineups with this tonight, which we will not be able to listen at the bar. I'm going to have to go to a second bar to watch this. Denver at Kansas City. This game opened a little bit bigger, but now it's 10.5 for Kansas City at home, 46.5 point total. The total is way down. You mentioned some wind. We'll talk about that throughout this segment. a lot of wind out there. This total was over 50 when it opened, and it's come down steadily, probably because of that wind.
Yeah, I think it's 20-mile-an-hour winds, probably a little bit of hail and rain in the forecast too. So I think you're going to take the Chiefs if you take a side.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a lot of points to give up, but you could definitely see this seems like a get-right spot for Kansas City. Again, they've kind of struggled the last 2 weeks, against the Vikings and the Jets. So if anything, this might be the get-right game for them. They've still ran the ball pretty well, and obviously that's what you could do against Denver. You just turn around and hand it off if you just look at Miami's game tape against Denver. So
yeah, I mean, the thing about it is Kansas City's beaten them, I think it's 8 straight times, but they have covered the spread quite a few times against them. I just don't know if this is the squad to do it. So this was actually one of my picks originally. When this total went way down, I didn't really, 10.5 is a lot of points. So great teaser spot, tease it down to 3.5, which isn't a great number, but still, and tease it up to, whatever that is, 52.5, and go under if you want to do this one game teaser, because I do think Kansas City's going to win this football game.
Yeah, and it's the percentage of precipitation just goes up as we go throughout the night. So we'll see.
We're going back to London. I know you don't like it over there. Those Limeys are going to be mad at you. You've got the Ravens going against Tennessee this time. Baltimore's up to a 4-point favorite in this neutral site, 41.5 point total. Here's what I'm going to say. Numbers-wise, these teams are pretty equal, and actually, Tennessee might be a little bit better in my numbers, but I heard that Baltimore went over on Monday. Like, they flew out on Monday, and Tennessee is going to do what the Bills did and fly out on Friday.
No, they're supposed to be leaving today as well.
Oh, they're leaving today? They're leaving a little earlier?
Yeah.
I still think it's too much. I'm still sticking on the Baltimore side. I like Baltimore -4 in the game. And maybe Tennessee is going to do what they do. I mean, Vrabel 4 points. Give me a break. Don't go against the Vrabel. But
as you said, that's your guy.
He is my guy. He's my guy. But I think that this is a bad spot for them, and I don't like that they're not going over early enough. Now, granted, the money's about split on this one, so I'm probably on the wrong side. A national tell me to shut up. But I'm on Ravens -4.
No, I'm with you because I think the difference in this game is that Lamar Jackson will finally, I think, start to run a little bit more. The Tennessee secondary and linebackers aren't the greatest. Obviously, they rely on pressure from their front four, and I think that'll allow Lamar to kind of be more elusive, get out of the pocket a little more, beat him a little more with his legs. So I would take the Baltimore side here. I would even take the over. I look for them to really get right here. They've played a couple bad games back to back. Well, then they've played some bad games back to back, and just I think Harbaugh is going to have to get the ship right. They're going to have to keep winning to stay in the AFC North race, just because everybody seems to be getting hot at and Pittsburgh's lucking their way into winning games, and
the Bengals are coming up.
Yeah, and actually I think the Ravens have won 2 division games on the road this year so far, so that's a big leg up in the division as well. So I think that's going to give them the advantage as well. That's
true. How about this one? Can I interest you in a Washington at Falcons?
Surprised it's not Thursday night game, to be honest.
Yeah, this would be a perfect Thursday night. Well, Washington was on last week. You can't have everybody on Thursday.
That's fair.
So Atlanta's a 2.5 point favorite at home, 42.5 point total. Look, all the experts love Atlanta. I actually really like them. I liked them preseason, but I still am not sold on Ritter. He did have his best game as a pro, and they're better at home, which I know you've said that in the past. So I could maybe get on their side, but I'm going to stay away. Washington, they lost to the Bears. It didn't look good. They've got to bounce back. They can't play that bad again. So I'm just probably going to stay away from this squad, this game altogether.
Yeah, that number at 2.5, I'd go. At 2.5, I'd go Washington. Or excuse me, I'd go Atlanta. If it were up to 3, I would take Washington. I think this should be a pick'em in my mind, just because
it opened as a pick'em. That's why I was a little surprised. Money's coming in on Atlanta.
I guess the only reason I can maybe see this is just because the run game could neutralize the defensive line, maybe. But it's tough to say. Sam Howell has played really well against bad defenses. Not saying Atlanta's defense is like middle of the road. I think they're 17th overall, so it's not like they're terrible. But I like the over in this game. I think the 42.5 is a little low. I think I see it more as a 45 or 46, probably like a 23.
Washington's been in some high scoring games besides week 1. I mean, they put up some points. Denver and Bears game was crazy too, of course. All right, well, let's talk about it. Those Bears. The Vikings are coming to the Bears. They're a 3-point dog at home, 43.5 point total. Now, the Bears and Vikings in general are over teams. The Kansas City game didn't go over. That's more because of the Kansas City defense.
Well, Justin Jefferson got hurt. I think is probably the biggest reason why.
He did, but I like over. I know it's supposed to be windy, but I don't know. 43.5 sounds a little low for me. Look, if I had to pick a team, I'd probably pick the Bears. I know it sounds crazy to most people, but I am not just being a homer. I think Minnesota's kind of losing their edge here. They've lost a lot of one-score games. And maybe they'll win the game. 3 is obviously it's like that's a push number, to be honest with you. But I'll take the home team plus the 3.
Yeah, I love the Bears this week. It's my
What?
favorite pick of the
A
week.
dog?
Yes, that's my favorite pick of the week this week.
Holy cow! Okay, pick of the week. You didn't fill that in on the
No, I'm full on. I'm busy with work, but no, I've been full on tank mode for Minnesota. I think it's a very under. I don't think they're going public, and I think Jefferson going on IR is a very telling,
indicative.
Very telling sign that I think they're full tank. So I would take Chicago here. I think the only big
money line.
Even sprinkle it in there. I would even tease it to give points back.
Okay.
Obviously, they're down on running backs, which is a little tough. I think Devonta Foreman is going to be their number 1 running back.
Dante Foreman. He's
Dante
good.
Foreman. Yeah,
he's good.
He was the bell cow for Carolina last year.
He played great last year. Yeah.
I think we're going to see a heavy dose of him. It's going to be interesting what kind of defense Brian Flores plays against Justin Fields.
Will he blitz him?
Yeah, or will he play coverage? We'll see. But yeah, I like the Bears this week. I think they've got some momentum. I think Minnesota is thinking more about the future. And
could be Kirk Cousins' last game. I mean, the trade deadline's only in a couple more weeks.
Yeah, but there's no one's really. I was watching. Was it Diana Rossini was talking about? No, they like their guy. That's what everybody's telling them. But I don't know, man. It's tough. Oh, with the weather too, it's supposed to be in the 50s. You have a 55% chance of rain and 18-mile-an-hour winds in Chicago. So
sounds like a lovely day to play some volleyball.
And that it sounds like a good day to bet to Justin Fields rushing props.
Yep, he'll be running
for sure.
All right, so this one is Seattle at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 3-point favorite, 44.5-point total. Again, look at this. These totals have come down a little bit from the opener because of the wind. Cincinnati, wow. Look, Seattle is the better team on paper from my metrics. It's only 5 weeks. I'm not going against Joe Burrow anymore. I'm not doing it. Not for the rest of the year, but at this game at home, 3 points. If it was 3.5, 4, sure, I'd probably lay it with the dog here. Seattle is coming off the bye, and they've played well, but I think that they've been a little bit. Their offensive linemen have been a little masked. They have 2 injuries for the offensive tackles, and I definitely would go with the Bengals here. Not necessarily my pick of the week or anything, but I would lay the points. Yeah,
this might be prisoner of the moment too, because the last thing we saw was the Seahawks beating the Giants to death on Monday night, and it's like, man, they're amazing. So, you play the Giants, it makes anybody look good. So, I'm with you here though. I like Cincinnati at home. I feel like this is another like must-win situation for the Bengals. They like putting themselves against the wall. Now that September's over too, it feels like they always play better starting
they're out of preseason.
Yeah, so I like Cincinnati. I think this is the week they're going to have to go out and establish the run. If they go out and do that this week, I think that's a good sign for your 35-1 for sure. The jungle's going to be rocking. It's supposed to be in the mid 50s. We're going to have 13 to 15 mile an hour winds. So I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but I think Trey Hendrickson's going to be the difference in this game. I think he's going to get a sack at the end, coming down the stretch, but I see it like 27-23, something like that.
Okay. Score prediction.
Yeah, I like it.
27-23. That's 40. That's an under. Yeah. Just saying. All right. So San Francisco at Cleveland. I was really excited about this game. I'm like, okay.
It's 50.
What's that?
27-23 is 50.
Oh, my bad.
So that's an over.
My bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't add. I only do that for a living. 24 San Francisco, Cleveland. I was really excited about this game because Cleveland's defense. You talked about them. The defensive line's incredible, and maybe they will have trouble in this one. But they opened up as like a 4.5-point favorite. Now it's up to 8.5 for San Francisco on the road. 37.5-point total. Watson looks like he's going to be out. That total has crashed because Watson's out and the wind. It's such value to the dog here, though. I can't lay the number, especially 8.5. No way. If you got the 4.5 for the end of the week, good for you. But I can only take Cleveland in this spot. 8.5 points with that defense. In fact, I might still do it. Not maybe Action will love it as a contest pick, but everybody's going to be, San Francisco, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they played so good. But this defense, I think the defensive line is legit for Cleveland, unlike Dallas, unfortunately.
Yeah, this definitely looks like an under spot for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's 37.5, I still feel like you're going to have a hard time. Though, I guess Trent Williams is the best solution for Myles Garrett, but they've shown that they can move him around quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Browns stat of the week, the Browns have allowed 0 net rushing yards before contact this season.
Okay.
Courtesy of Pro Football Focus. So that's almost unheard of through 5 weeks of the season. That's insane.
So 0 before contact or 0 after contact?
0 yards before contact. Net rushing yards before contact this season. So
before contact. So that means they just They just
they
get them in the back.
They penetrate like nobody's business.
Got
it. That sounds like a team you kind of root for. But
I like penetration.
Yeah, it really disrupts things, especially when it comes to running the football. The weather is going to be a big factor. It's supposed to be rainy and crappy up there. It's going to be 15 to 25 mile an hour winds. It's going to be in the mid 50s.
I mean, PJ Walker, don't turn the ball over, and you guys maybe have a chance. But obviously, that's the only reason why this spread could come into play and even the total turnovers.
A defensive touchdown could definitely be on play for both sides, honestly. Mm-hmm. So if you like a little prop bet, maybe go for a defensive score.
Yeah, you don't shove anymore. You got the other guy forward, but we'll see. No play on the side.
I'd
stay away from San Francisco.
I would stay away from this game. But if I had to pick a side, I'd probably go Cleveland just because it's so many points.
Yeah.
But again, maybe with our the way the year's been going, just got to pick the winner. So maybe we should pick San Fran.
Pick the winner. Man. That's what it says. But I can't do it. I can't do it on this one. Not with San Francisco anyway. Okay, next one. New Orleans at Houston. New Orleans is a 1.5 point favorite on the road. Right now, it's a 42-point total. It's a little lower than I thought, but this is an under team. We talked about many times that New Orleans doesn't give up more than 20 points, yada, yada. They did it again last week. We beat the living hell out of New England. We should have put that on the card.
No kidding.
I think we both liked it. I don't know why we did that. Anyway, New Orleans is 14-1 to the under in the last 15 games. So, yes, under could be in play. I like Houston again. I am like a Houston backer. I'm a Texan fan. Plus 1.5 at home. These teams, they played very solid. I'm not sure how Stroud's going to do against a really good defense like the Saints, but I think the Houston defense is decent. So 1.5, I mean, I'll take it.
See, I'm on opposite sides of you this week.
Yeah,
I'm going New Orleans on this one. For one thing, their color matchup is going to be superior.
Oh, the color matchup.
Yeah, this is going to be really nice with those whites. Hopefully, that's what the Saints were. They do the white and gold. I think it'll do really well with that blue and red matchup with the Texans home jersey. But regardless, I think the offensive line, they have 4 backups starting for Houston. I think that's really going to come into play now because obviously one of the strengths of the Saints is their defensive line playing just their front seven in general. Yeah. I think they could really take advantage of it. And I think they're starting to roll a little bit. I think
they played better last week, of course, New England.
I mean, if you take the Green Bay game out where Derek Carr got hurt, I mean, this team has really been playing well the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I think they're starting to get more of an identity. Alvin Kamara has come back. That's been a big difference on the offensive side of the ball for them. I like the Saints here.
Okay. We'll go opposite. No problem. What about Indy and the Jags? This is in Jacksonville. Jags are 4-point favorites at home, 44.5 point total. Here's the stat for you. The Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014.
Since Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck was there. This is ridiculous. You've got the Minshew revenge game, sure, but I actually think this is going to work against the Colts. I really liked them last week, and they did win the game. I like the type, they kept flipping back, and I like when they were getting points. So I think the Minshew mania, I love the dude, but I think that they're going to have something for him. Now, the Jags didn't take the bye after 2 weeks in London, so that's a factor, but I would lay the wood here with the Jags -4.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Jags are going to roll this week. I think they've played really well, and especially Trevor Lawrence has played really well the last 2 weeks. He played arguably his best game last week against
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Had a decent game.
Yeah, ETN, they're definitely going to control the ball a little bit more here in this game, especially. And Zay Jones, I think, is returning. And he's kind of the key to their offense. He's their ex-wide receiver. So when he really helps separate the field for Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley especially. But I think Jacksonville and Cincinnati are 2 of the teams that could start really picking up steam here. And I know you were big on them early, and this could be kind of that
it was just that
defining
one game,
moment.
A damn Houston game, ruined my chance of $1 million.
I'm with you. I think the Prince is going to have a nice game here against Indy.
Okay. Hey, look at that. We're on the same side. How about Carolina at Miami? You're not wearing the Miami hat, but close enough. Miami's a 13.5 point favorite, 47.5 point total at home. This would probably be your Survivor pick if you're out there still in Survivor for the Finns. Look, Bryce Young put up some points last week. They were never really in that game against Detroit. I kind of feel like there could be. I mean, these are big numbers that Miami's covering. They did it again last week against the Giants, right? So I can understand why you would lay the points. I had to stay away from the total. I mean, it's just too many points, but Carolina is not great. That's for sure. I mean, one of the things you could bet as a prop, Adam Thielen, anytime touchdown. The dude is scoring touchdowns every week now.
Yeah. No, definitely. Even with Andy Dalton, even with Bryce Young, doesn't matter who it is. But our new in-depth rule has 1-0 so far, so we take the Miami over every week. So
okay,
they could hit last week if I recall
47.5. Jeez.
Again, this is I don't know if I would take the number here. I really don't like it. As a person who bet on Carolina last week, I'm impaired, or I guess I'm obligated to tell you to take Miami this week. And yeah, I don't know. It's this. I don't see how this isn't a bloodbath, to be honest. But yeah, take the over, take Miami. End of story. Oh, Jeff Wilson Jr. should be coming off the IR.
I didn't have him open. Devon Achan.
Yeah,
he's going to be out for. Is he out for good?
No, I might be out a couple weeks.
Okay.
They're looking maybe 3 or 4. So, which honestly, it won't be a big deal. They've got a nice stable running back. So
he's like 13 yards a touch.
Yeah, he's like the third best running back in fantasy, and he's only played 3 games this year. So
yeah. All right, so let's go more afternoon spots now. You got New England at the Raiders. The Raiders did win this week on Monday night against the Packers, even though I lost that bet. So the Pats are 2.5-point dogs on the road at 41.5-point total. I put quarterback change. I think Mac Jones is going to start, which I can't believe it. Mac Jones is going to start. He stinks. Yeah. But, Belichick, who there's a lot of talk, maybe he's going to get fired. We know that's not going to happen, but there's talk about it. So, the Raiders, I mean, they got something here. I would probably take the Pats plus the points just because all this stuff just means Belichick's going to, hammer it, but I can't really trust Mac Jones whatsoever. So I know I'm staying away from a lot of games this week, but this is a stay away spot for me.
Actually, this is one of my favorite picks too. I'll take the Raiders just because the defense for the Patriots is obviously not as healthy as they'd like to. They're out Judon, and they're out the really good
Christian
Gonzalez. Yeah, Christian Gonzalez. I think this is a Devontae Adams game for sure. Josh McDaniels revenge game. So that could, and Jimmy G revenge game. So there's going to be a lot of momentum, I think, on the Raiders side. And the vibes are not high in New England right now.
No, they're not.
There's no way they have.
Not good vibes.
There's no way you can feel good in the building either. It's got to be tough looking at the season as a whole. So I like the Raiders here. I would tease this almost all the way up to 5.5.
Wow.
And I think this is a really good spot.
You can tease it up to, if you take the 6, you can go. You're going up. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're taking the Raiders. You wouldn't tease through the number.
Oh no, we're gonna tease up.
You're gonna tease.
Oh yeah, we're gonna tease up. We get some better odds. Yeah, that's how good we feel about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna tease up.
It's not typical, but okay.
No, that's okay. We take an unorthodox approach. So, but no, we definitely like even Jacoby Myers' revenge game this week.
You mean you're teasing it? You're gonna go
like I would take Raiders minus even 5.5.
Oh, okay. All
points.
line. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Well, if you want to do that, that's usually kind of. Oh, you're going to get better odds. Yes. Alternate line. No
yeah.
I was like, you're going to tease it? I mean, usually teasing you going the way you want it, like the other way. But all right, let's go to the next one.
What do you know about which way I'm going?
No, any which way but loose, apparently. Okay, so Detroit at Tampa Bay, the battle, the Bay of Pigs, as they always used to call it. So you got 3.5-point favorites for Detroit on the road, 43.5-point total. I don't know. It does get over the key number of 3, and that's mostly the money. But it's kind of contrary. The tickets are all in Detroit. Tampa's getting the money. I'm on the Tampa side here. I know you've sold me on the whole Tampa defense and all. But I do think Detroit's really good, and this is going to be a prove-it game for me in terms of a spread. I'll go against them here. 3.5 is a good number for a better, but also they're coming off a bye. They should be as fresh as they can be. Detroit hasn't played a good defense in a while since Kansas City, so I'll take the points at 3.5 at home for Tampa.
I think we're different on this one. I'm going to give the points on this one.
For sure.
I'm going to. I think Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell are much better. I think they've got a big coaching mismatch here, especially with Ben Johnson. I think he can take advantage of that Buccaneers defense. The weather shouldn't be an issue at all. It's going to be in the 80s. It was going to be raining, by the way, in that Miami game. So they're expecting 2 to 3 inches of rain.
Well, that's why the total went down.
Over the forecast, just to let the folks know, just in case that way.
If you're betting that over, and it doesn't hit, you know
absolutely. So just to let you know there, but I think Detroit's gonna. I think this is the coming out party. I think.
Okay.
I thought last week was kind of the prove it because it's probably been decades since they've been favored by 10 plus points or so. So for them to come out and cover and actually take care of business the way that good football teams are supposed to.
What did you say? Good teams win, great teams cover.
Great teams cover, yeah. So they're a great team, and obviously they got Jared Goff, the greatest to ever do it.
They got my 10-1 on NFC Championship, so no problem.
But yeah, I think this is a good Detroit spot. Baker Mayfield was down in the Red River rivalry last week, so
oh yeah, he got fired up.
He might be a little sleepwalky from that, and might be a letdown spot for the Bucs.
We'll see. Okay, we'll find out. We're on opposite sides here again. So Arizona at the Rams. Rams are laying 7 points at home, 48-point total. I don't love it. I think that the Rams are playing good, but Arizona's been pretty feisty, or frisky, as you say. I think I like Arizona with the points here, even though everybody's betting on the Rams. So originally it was in my picks. I withdrew it. So I'm not in my top 5 in terms of Arizona plus the 7, but I would probably do that. Take the 7 if I had to. Maybe my 6th choice of the week.
Oh, man, I'm taking the Rams.
For sure.
100%. James Conner's hurt. He's not going to play.
Okay.
I think Arizona's now in tank mode. I think they came out mode, huh? They came out frisky in September. Obviously, they beat the Cowboys.
They got their win.
They were in a couple I guess battles, if you will. But now I think from a team standpoint, once you keep going up against good team after good team after good team, and you keep coming up short as a whole, I think it starts to wear on the mentality. Okay. It's a young coaching staff. Cooper Kupp's coming back. The Rams have still something to play for. I think this is the Aaron Donald week. Their defense played much better last week. I think they're going to continue that this week. I think this is a
divisional road dog plus 7. Okay, yeah, minus 7. Okay,
I like the Rams here. I think this is a really good spot for them.
All right, is that one of your top 5?
Yeah, that one's going to be my top 4.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Our top 4, that's right. All right, so let's go Philadelphia at the Jets. The Jets are 7-point dogs at home against the mighty Eagles. 40.5-point total, really low total. Total went down by 2. I'm not sure if the weather is related to that too. But I'm staying away from the Eagles here. I do like the Jets, but I'm not going to do it. I think against that defensive line, Wilson's going to have some trouble. So classic stay away spot for Jimmy Wegs, even though I'd keep backing the Jets until you tell me not to.
That's fair. I mean, with a defense like that, it's hard not to, because 7 points is quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is my stay away game of the week if I had to pick one. I would take Philly. I'd give you the 7.
Sure.
The weather's not going to be the greatest. It's going to be a 50% chance of rain. You're going to have 12 to 15 mile an hour winds. So, Breece Hall is probably going to get the ball quite a bit. But yeah, I think to your point, the front 7 of the Eagles is going to be so good. And I think the weak spot of this Jets team is obviously their offensive line. So I would take the under here. I see maybe like a 28-10 game, just really ugly. So at that point, I guess you would take the Eagles and take the under if you're going to take it. But
yeah, 7. It's a tough number.
Don't feel great about it for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's the contest number too. So it is. Yeah, it's a contest number. So stay away, action, if you're listening. Okay, Sunday Night Football. This was a great game at some point, apparently. Giants at the Bills. Bills laying 14.5 points in this one, 44.5-point total. Now, look, the Bills have a ton of injuries, so I cannot lay it, even though we know when the Bills win, they win big. We know that. If you think they're going to win the game, lay the points. But 14.5, good God. That's a lot of points. And the Giants have been abysmal. There's no question. No arguing that. But I think that 14.5 is just too many points.
Really? You think 14.5 is too in Buffalo?
Yes, absolutely. Their injuries. They've got injuries all over that defense now.
I would agree with you.
The Jags they had like 500 yards of offense last week on them.
So you're saying that Daniel Jones is kind of in the same classification as Trevor Lawrence? Did I hear that correctly?
Well, he had a good year last year.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what happened this year.
But he is playing on the road, so that does help.
He's
your
great
argument.
On the road.
He is much better on the road than he is at
home.
He
runs more on the road.
I would take Buffalo here. I would lay the points as well. The Giants' defense has been so bad this year. It's right down there with Denver as far as analytics and stopping people.
They're terrible.
And I think Buffalo's going to be in a bad mood. They just lost to Jacksonville. If Buffalo had beaten Jacksonville, I think I'd be with you on that side. I think there's going to be urgency in the building. I think there's a lot of rumors around the Stephon Diggs. Even Josh Allen came out and kind of said that, hey, we're tired of all this crap and asking what's going on. Like, everything's cool. We're just going to play football. So
just beat the hell out of
right. So
you don't think this is like the Dable revenge game?
No. I think Dable's got way too many other problems to worry about than the revenge game factor. He's got to worry about how in the hell he's going to keep his quarterback alive because he's got about 2 seconds to make a decision. So, and even with I think the Buffalo, even with the injuries, their defensive line is still good. That's the deepest part of that team. So, hopefully they can come back and establish their run game. This would be a good game to get that going.
We'll see. Besides Josh Allen running.
Right.
All right, last game, Monday Night Football, Dallas against the Chargers. Dallas is a 2.5-point favorite on the road, 15.5-point total. Sounds like we're on opposite sides already. I believe in I got embarrassed, we're going to play better game for the most part. So I think Dallas is going to win this game outright. Obviously they're favored, so they're going to cover this total or cover the spread easily, 2.5. The total, I don't know. I think it's going to go under. I think both these offenses can be electric, but if the defense plays right, then it definitely can work in their fashion. I do like the Chargers in general, but I don't trust. These are two coaches I don't trust. That's for sure in late game situations, but I don't think it's going to come to that. I think Dallas is going to win this game pretty easily.
Oh, pretty easily even. Wow.
This will be an all-spread game for me.
Gotcha.
But
well, see,
I'll take the 2.
The problem with your theory is if you're a good team, you have to have a good quarterback to come back and not be embarrassed. So the problem is that Dallas doesn't have that great of a quarterback. So
yeah.
I think I like the Chargers. I like their pass rush. I think, like I said, the Kellen Moore revenge game is also another big factor in this. I think Kellen Moore's got something to prove. And I think this is the game where you're going to notice a big difference in philosophy of Dallas versus what they've kind of lost with Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be very telling.
That's true. It's a revenge game.
They're getting out Austin Eckler back this week
that's
as
true.
well.
Good point.
Dallas is on the short week from Monday. I don't know if they stayed or they stayed out in California or if they went back and traveled. I need to do my homework.
No, they did because McCarthy hasn't left.
Oh, that's right, he hasn't left. So again, short week. They're traveling to SoFi. It's obviously going to be pretty much a home game for Dallas, just because every Chargers game is that way. But I like the Chargers here. I think this is a good spot for them. They're going to have to kind of make up for that Week 1 blunder against Miami, and I think they're moving in the right direction.
All right, another opposite game. We'll note these later, but it isn't one of my picks. It is one of my top 5. So let's go over the top 4 or 5 in my case. So my 5 picks right now: Baltimore minus the 4 in London. We've got Houston plus 1.5 at home. Jacksonville minus 4 against Indy. I like Tampa plus 3.5 at home against. Who are they playing again?
Who's that?
The number.
Tampa. Tampa's playing against Detroit.
Detroit, right. And then I like Dallas on the road minus 2.5 in the contest. I think it's 2, but 2.5 against the Chargers. In your top 4?
And I've noticed too that if I would have taken our
opposite
our
picks?
big game last 2 weeks, I'm like 6 or I'm like 8-2, I think.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
So especially
stick with it.
So this week I'm going to take the games that we're going against each other. And ironically, we have the 4. So I'm going to take New Orleans the minus 1.5. I'm going to take Detroit minus 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Rams at minus 7, and I'm going to take the Chargers at plus 2.5.
There you go. You'll go 4-0.
So hopefully that just means that this is going to be the week that everything flips and goes.
Yeah, one of the games is not on my card, but we'll see. Action talks some sense into me on Saturday mornings usually. So that's great. Well, hey, we're going to go to this happier now. We're running a little late. Everybody's texting me now. That's what happens. I'm going to Minocqua for a wedding this weekend. I leave tomorrow afternoon, and I drive up, and I'll be in the Great North Woods, so that should be a lot of fun. And then apparently you have a date night? Yeah,
Callie put date night together, so I don't really know what we're doing yet.
Oh,
so
she's planning it.
Yeah, so she planned date night. We'll see what happens. She texted me like 2 weeks ago and asked me what I had going on this Friday, so we'll definitely see what happens. I have no idea, but we'll cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Did she tell you the attire?
No, I guess I should ask. Maybe I'll ask when we get there for our social hour.
Little plug in. Hey, what do I have to wear for this? This is tomorrow or Saturday?
No, this is tomorrow. This is Friday, so we'll definitely see there. Saturday we're doing a little indoor.
A little volleyball.
You'll miss out on indoor.
I'm always missing out on indoor. So.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. We gotta get the beach body ready for next year already.
Well, so I'm working on the slim down. But we're gonna roll some dice probably the following week. So we've talked about it. But Luke promised me he's gonna go. He always says.
Oh, really?
He says
he still owes me on my pay up too. You mentioned that on Sunday that he was paying out.
Okay, that's right. Where's the pay up?
He owes me a 6-pack still. I believe
he does. Yeah. He does. He was going to try to pay you in like Miller Lights at the bar. I think you want a craft beer.
Oh, do I?
I want to know. What do you want?
I would much a Guinness maybe.
Oh, Guinness.
Yeah, I would. I mean. A 6-pack is a 6-pack. Honestly, it's more about...
6-pack is not a 6-pack.
It's
You're
more
going to get
about,
Natty Light, it's going to be like $6.
Well, you're missing the point. It's more about like the fact that he has to give me said 6-pack is where all that kind of, that satisfaction comes in. Is like, okay, hey, we both know why you're doing this. That's kind of the fun of it.
Like the walk of shame.
Yeah, there you go. Just to remind him, like, hey, Luke, remember that time?
Remember that time I beat you and you gave me a 6-pack?
In front of everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so follow us at Side Action Pod on Twitter, Side Action Podcast on Instagram. Follow me at Wegs on Twitter and on Instagram.
And you can check me out on Instagram at Dalton Cooper. I'm obviously Coop on Twitter at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Obviously, you heard it here. We're the Side Action Pod. Until next week, hopefully we're back in the Ridge studio.
Yeah, we should be.
I'm going to
be flying back from Jersey, but we should be able to do it that night. So
we'll see you guys then. Love you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Side Action Podcast. We appreciate all of your listens and thank you for joining us. We'll see you all again next week on Thursday for some more hot picks and side action. Side Action Podcast, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the show hosts or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this podcast, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. Individuals following the advice given on the podcast accept their own risk of losses from wagers made, as the Side Action Podcast, its owners, hosts, associates, or guests will not guarantee any advice given. The opinions and advice given on the Side Action Podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Intro and outro and transition music credits. Song titles Jerry 5 and District 4 by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.org. Licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. creativecommons.org/licenses/by 3.0.